Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout Podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
This is what, episode 9?
I think so.
So today we're covering another one of my favorite horror movies, which is Mad God.
Which, to be completely honest, we've went back and forth on if we wanted to do an episode on this movie.
If we could do an episode on this movie.
Right. And we watched it, and I was just kind of like, I'm not sure. And we watched it, 2 weeks ago, I think?
Yeah.
And it's one I can't get out of my head. So I feel like we need to do an episode because we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to let Dawson do the spoiler-free review because he does a better job not spoiling things than I do.
Basically all I'll say here is I'll more go into the behind the scenes because the movie itself, there's not much to say without spoiling. So this movie was made by Phil Tippett, who has done special effects like stop motion stuff on so many movies. Like, he worked on some of the RoboCop movies, he worked on some of the Star Wars movies, stuff like that. So he has years and years of experience, and the tagline for this movie is 30 years in the making. And even though it's called that, it's not necessarily, it was not worked on continuously over the course of 30 years. He started it as a little project, and then once he was big, some of his apprentices were like, hey, what's that? Because they saw the video file on his drive or whatever. And he was like, oh, it's just a project I was working on. So they decided to fully flesh it out and make it a full movie. So the simplest way I can describe this is it is more of a experience than a movie. As you're watching it, you go through this really messed up world, and things just kind of happen around our character for the most part, and that's about all I can say in the spoiler-free. But I will say this too.
One thing on what you said about the 30 years. One thing I read said that he was looking at restarting it, and then Jurassic Park came out, and because of the CGI in Jurassic Park, he was going to scrap the whole project.
Yeah.
So that kind of put it on hold for a little while again.
But I will say one last thing. It is almost entirely free of dialogue. There is one actual line of dialogue in the movie, and it's "oh no," and that's it. But if you like more out of the box kind of art house films, I would go watch it. If not, enjoy a review of it. Do you have anything else to say?
I think Dawson has the best description that it's not watching a movie, it's an experience. Like I said, we watched it and I was kind of speechless because I didn't really know what to say about it.
I feel like Chef Slowick saying that. It's not food, it's an experience.
Right.
If you guys don't get that, that's a reference to the menu, which we covered last week.
Right. But we were trying to decide if there was enough to talk about, and I really feel like there is. So
yeah.
Sit back, buckle up, because this one's a wild one.
It's weird, and it may sound like we're jumping around and stuff. It's not. This movie that's how it moves. So the movie starts on an eye. And I'm going to go ahead and say this now. There's multiple theories from people on why it starts on this eye and whose eye it is. But it starts in an eye, and we zoom into the pupil, and we see a tower. Presumably the Tower of Babel, as it gets struck down by lightning. And then we get a parchment on the screen that shows us Leviticus 26, which reads, "If you disobey me and remain hostile to me, I will act against you in wrathful hostility. I, for my part, will discipline you sevenfold for your sins. You shall eat the flesh of your sons and the flesh of your daughters. I will destroy your cult places and cut down your incense stands. And I will heap your carcasses upon your lifeless idols. I will spurn you. I will lay your cities in ruin and make your sanctuaries desolate, and I will not savor your pleasing odors. I will make the land desolate so that your enemies who settle it shall be appalled by it. And you I will scatter among the nations, and I will unsheath the sword against you. Your land shall become a desolation, and your cities a ruin." which, if you don't know, that is God speaking in the Bible, and basically threatening pagans who do not believe in him.
Right. And so they started with that. So kind of as a general theme or a general consensus of the theme is that we're looking at a world that is
Godless.
That's made God angry,
Yeah.
and he's taking revenge and taking care of the problem. But I think it goes a lot more deeper than that.
I have a personal theory that I haven't seen anywhere. I didn't do a whole lot of research into the theories, though. Mom did more of that, so I want to know. I'm going to tell my theory at the end after we go through what happens in the movie, and I want to see if my theory has been brought up by anyone else.
So I thought this was right, but I wanted to check my notes before. You had mentioned that his students saw the video.
Yes.
What actually prompted it was they found boxes of his props and puppets that he had made.
That's
and then
cool.
he showed them the video.
That's cool.
And so it ended up being they were volunteering on weekends, but it became a crew of more than 60 people that worked on it. And then they did a Kickstarter that was successful to get it really rolling.
And this is a Shudder original movie. I meant to mention that. So if you want to go watch it, you can watch it on Shudder. If not, it's on the Internet Archive. I don't know why, but it's just, it's out there on the Internet Archive for free to watch, so.
So, of course, Dawson talked about the Tower of Babel. We see the scripture come up.
Yes.
And then we see someone in a, what would you call it? A capsule, maybe?
Yeah. It's referred to as a diving bell.
He's being lowered into a world.
Yes.
And I don't remember, do we see the people up above here, or do we not see them till later?
I think we do for a little bit, but it's not like anything close up.
So he's being lowered down through all of this junk. There's so much to this movie as far as backgrounds.
It's a very visual medium. Like, this is very it is all visuals, basically. There's sound too, but you need to watch it.
Right.
To get a full experience, you need to watch it.
With that being said, it's one you need to watch. It's not something you can put on in the background and kind of go about your day. It's not one you can put on in the background and just go about your day. You gotta pay attention to what's going on.
Lock in, as the kids say.
Yeah. So the main person, our first person we meet is, they call him the assassin.
Yes.
He's got a gas mask. He's got a map, which we talked about the map when we were watching it.
His map is paper.
Right.
And throughout the movie, as he pulls it out to figure out where he's going, it falls more and more apart.
Right. It just kind of crumbles.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of symbolism there too. There's no going back.
Yeah.
He doesn't plan to come back.
Right. So it's post-apocalyptic is what this world looks like.
And with the way it's like layers. Like, there's layers. Like, he gets lowered down, and there's all these statues in the background, and then when it sets down, he's in almost like a war-torn area, right?
Yeah. Is he the one that in the background you can kind of see like one of the monuments from Washington, or is that later on?
I think that's here. I believe so.
But it's kind of just like this big pile of
There's like a Buddha statue.
Yeah.
There's
it's not. I want to say it's the Washington. It looks like the Washington Monument, but don't quote me on that.
I think there's what is that called? Is it the Capitol building?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Capitol building's in the background too.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
And there's like one of those pigs that people have in their kitchens that have the chef's hat on and stuff, but they're all like gray, like they all look like stone statues in the background as he's being lowered.
And remember, as we talk about this, that all of this stuff was handcrafted, and this is a stop motion movie.
And
so, it took hours upon days upon months to film one scene.
And I personally did some stop motion myself, like when I was a kid and stuff, because I always found it really fascinating. And it does take forever. But one thing I did want to say, though, I think they said they use like 3 different sizes to shoot, like 3 different scales. Because, like, it's not right here, but, like, there's a later part in the movie where someone looks through binoculars and sees a Jeep.
Yeah.
And when he looks through the binoculars, the Jeep looks like a Hot Wheels car.
Yeah.
But then he gets in it, and it looks slightly different, like it's bigger and stuff. And so it's cool, because they used all these different scales depending on how much room they had and what they needed for the scene.
And it's, I mean, and I'm not dissing your stop motion that you've done, but as somebody who's done stop motion, like, even just moving the main character is huge. And so you've got all of this. It's not like, we were talking about Scooby-Doo earlier. It's not like Scooby-Doo where it's one background and he's walking past the same thing 5 times. The background changes as he walks. And
it's not even like Coraline or anything where there's some established places like Coraline's room and stuff. It's like everything is different.
Yeah. And it's just, and there's terrain. It's not like he's walking on a flat road. It's just, but he's on a mission, and we don't really know what that mission is.
Yes.
He doesn't have the briefcase.
He does have a briefcase.
He does have the briefcase.
Yes. We don't see what's in it, but he has a briefcase.
I thought he picked it up later on. So anyway, we've got this guy in his gas mask. He's in kind of like armor-looking stuff, like soldier gear, with a briefcase. And he's going through, and I mean, there's things in the background like people hurting other people, and there's
at this first part when he sits down, we kind of do like a close-up view on this, kind of like a hotel on top of a hill, and we see various scenes happening in it. Like, it looks like there's a man and a woman that are having sex, and the guy is stabbing the girl repeatedly, and she's like laughing and screaming.
But it's like, you see their shadows.
Yeah, it's like an outline.
So it's like you can just see their shadows. And then this is where we've got the creeper thing.
There's like
comes out of the
there's
tube.
A creature, and it reminds me of the original Invisible Man, where it's got the wraps and the goggles, and it's in like an old, it's almost like a tin can or something is what it's in, and it has a little.
I thought it was a pipe.
Like it probably is,
because it went back so far.
I think you're right. I think it's one of those metal pipes that they do like under roads.
Yeah.
But it makes like monkey noises. But it's got a little bell outside its thing attached to a wire to catch animals to eat, and so it catches like a little rat-looking thing. But the bell ringing doesn't just alert him; it alerts someone that's in that hotel. So this like weird creature that's like almost just like a giant mass of flesh that kind of, the way it walks reminds me of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's like crouched over and stuff.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. It's got big boobs hanging down. It reminds me of the barbarian, the grandma, or like the old lady. Yeah.
But again, this was all handmade things, and the movement and everything just.
And it's got a cleaver in its hand, and it it comes out and it ends up pulling the monkey thing out, and we see under, because it kind of drags the back of, I said it looks like it's wrapped in bandages, it's kind of dragging behind it, so you can't see what's under the bandages, but at this part, he chops it up, and you can see what's under the bandages, and it's like a fishtail. And with the monkey noises and it having a fishtail, you know what it makes me think of? Those mermaids they had in museums back in the day, where they take the front of a monkey and the back of a fish and put them together. So I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's what it made me think of.
It could be, because, I mean, we're talking about abominations and things that,
things from mythology.
Right. I didn't think about that.
So anyway, so he kind of sees that going on, but he doesn't get involved. And you'll see that a lot in this movie. He doesn't really get involved. He's kind of just, he's on his mission, and he just kind of observe events that happen without interfering.
Right. And I wondered if that was, I don't want to say intentional, because obviously it was intentional, but do you think that was because he didn't want to get involved? Or do you think he couldn't get involved? You know what I mean? Like, do you think it was because, like, he wasn't really part of that world, so do you think he couldn't get involved, or he just had his mission and that was it?
I think he could have gotten involved, but I think it's because of his mission that he doesn't. But I wonder if it's not more about the mission, and it's more about the fact that the person that sent him on the mission, because there's a lot of imagery in this of gods and even like false gods and stuff like that. And so I wonder if it's because he's so devoted to the man who sent him that he is just trying to get the mission done.
That makes sense.
And And I don't know that. There's a lot in this movie that isn't really known. A lot of this movie is just up for interpretation. And I may interpret it completely different than Mon does. Or if you go watch this movie, you may have a completely different interpretation, and that's the beauty of it. And I've talked to a lot of people about this with art, because a lot of people will put their art out in the world and they get upset when people misinterpret it. And I understand if someone misinterprets it negatively, not the way you intended. But the thing with art is, it doesn't matter what your intentions were when you put it out in the world. It is determined by the individual. If I view a piece of art, I have different life experiences than the creator of the art or the person standing next to me looking at the art. Right. I have different thoughts in my brain, and so we're all going to interpret art differently. Right. So it doesn't matter.
Talk a lot about, like, horror is subjective.
Yeah.
There's creepy parts in this movie to me, but I wouldn't say it was one of my favorite horror, but it's one of your favorite horrors. And, like, we've been talking about different books, and there's one that's one of my absolute favorites. It's not... You enjoyed it, but it's not your favorite. Yeah. Like, it's just so subjective, and this movie creeped me out because there's things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah. And you said this when we were watching it. I said, do you like the movie? And you said, I'm uncomfortable. I have been the whole time, and I don't know if that's good or bad.
Right. Yeah.
But, like I was saying, the thing is with your art, and if you were, like, an aspiring artist or whatever, or, like, even me putting out my YouTube videos, if I put stuff like that out in the world, it may affect people different ways. It may inspire you to do something. It may turn you off from something. It could do various things depending on how you interpret it. And that is just something that you have to learn to live with if you are going to be a creative, is that people are going to interpret your art different ways, and you may not have intended something, but that is how it is interpreted and how it's taken. And you just got to learn to live with that and realize that's fine. If it really speaks to people, they'll enjoy it.
I don't remember what I was reading. It's just been a couple days ago, but maybe it was an episode of something I was watching. I don't know. But anyway, they said that once you put it out there to the world, it's not yours anymore.
Yeah, it's not.
Like, if you are author or director, once you put that out there, it's not yours.
And that's why a lot of people are scared to, like, publish their works or put their art out in the world, is because you're giving up a piece of yourself, and you're exposing yourself to the world, and you're giving that part of yourself up to other people.
Right. And there's so much criticism in the world today that... I mean, we've talked about this. I have lots of ideas for scary stories I would love to write, but I'm too scared to do it because I don't want to give up my babies.
Well, like, I have an example that I was thinking of. There is a YouTuber that I watch that you haven't seen, because you're not a big YouTube person, named Meat Canyon, that makes, like, creepy animations. And he has one that's like a parody of SpongeBob. And when he wrote it in the mind of someone taking advantage of a worker they have, like capitalism, and how working your whole life for, like, a meager salary and basically being like a pushover and doing what you're told can destroy you. But when it came out, a lot of people interpreted it as, like, sexual abuse or sex work, and how it chips away at your soul or takes away from you, or various things like that. And he said that wasn't his intention when he wrote it, but he's glad that people found an outlet that helps them from it. And so when you put something out there, it's going to be interpreted however people want to interpret it. But we should probably get back to the actual movie.
Right. That's what this movie just has you think in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So one thing I thought was cool was, as he's walking through all these different parts, and I don't know if you caught this, there's a robot graveyard in the background, and one of the machines is an abandoned ED-209 from RoboCop.
Yes, I did know that.
So I thought that was kind of cool. And then there's also a part where there is I'm trying to find it. There is a mountain of dead army men or soldiers. It took 4 to 6 people 3 years to build that mountain. And what they did was they took the little army, like green army men, and just melted them together and held them together with wire. But it took 4 to 6 people 3 years to make that one mountain.
Um, that is, one of the biggest things with this movie is the scope of the project is insane.
Yeah.
Like how many different settings and everything there is.
Yeah.
So I'm after this he pretty much just leaves this area, right?
Yeah.
He travels down.
Yeah.
Is this when he gets the electric chairs, or is there something between there? When does he see like the monkey being like strapped?
That's after the chairs. I
Okay.
think.
The
chair part's disgusting.
Yeah. Let me. Okay, so we think the monkey happens first. So he like opens a door, and there's like a monkey strapped down. Is this? There's the doll in the cage. Isn't that right here?
Yeah, and then there's something in a fish tank.
Yeah, it's like a salamander, and it's like they're like being tortured or worked on in like a lab, and the monkey starts like making monkey noises really loud, and so like he closes it.
The doll like kind of turns her head and looks at him, and then she
Yeah.
kind of starts playing with herself.
I think she plays with herself and then pauses, looks at him, and then starts playing with herself again. But like she doesn't have parts. She's
Right.
just like it's just wood against wood.
Right.
But the monkey starts getting really loud, so he closes that door, and then I think he finds a trap door and moves down, or maybe it's a regular door and there's a staircase or whatever. But anyway, he starts moving down lower, and so here we see a bunch of people strapped into electric chairs being electrocuted, and as they are,
these are like normal sized people. What I picture like us, like normal sized humans.
well,
and he's like.
you don't know that.
Well, no, but in comparison.
Yes.
Like he's like G.I. Joe size compared to these people in these electric chairs.
At this point he is, but if you notice, there's a part later where humans are the same size as him.
Right.
And
but I'm just saying for comparison.
At the beginning, when we see the guy loading him up into the diving bell, or maybe it's later whenever we see him, the assassins are all bigger than him. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So, I don't know the scale here.
Right.
The scale is kind of...
But I just meant, like...
Yeah, at this point,
like
yes.
us sitting in an electric chair with G.I. Joe walking underneath of it.
So anyway, and as this is happening, they're just, like, crapping their guts, like, literally crapping their guts out.
And he walks right by it with no reaction.
Yeah.
I mean...
And...
Again, uncomfortable.
As he gets past them, he's, like, coming down, and there's, like, a mouth. I don't even know if there's a full face. I think there's just a mouth connected, like, tubes and wires and stuff that's, like, eating what's coming out of them.
Yes, I forgot that. Oof.
It's just, like, slopping down on him. The sound effects are gross, too.
Yes.
But he keeps going down, and this is when we get to, like... It's like an underground city that is entirely dedicated to making these, like, hair creatures that work all the time to build these obelisks.
And it made me think of the Bible story. The Egyptians and the Moses let my people go.
Yeah.
Because they were mean to... I mean, the soldiers were abusive to the hair people.
Yeah.
And it kind of... Dawson was talking about the meat... What is it? Meat?
What?
Who's the guy you were just
Meat
talking
Canyon.
about? Meat Canyon. His episode about work. That's kind of what this reflects.
Yeah.
Is like, all they do is work and then die.
Yeah, we see them being created, and I think the implication, because of their name behind the scenes, which I'm not going to say, it's the S word, something. I think the implication is that they're made of what is coming out of the people. I think that's supposed to be the implication. There's like these giant furnaces that have molds attached that are making these like hair creatures. And when I say hair creatures, it's like when your drain is clogged and you pull the hair out of it, it's like they're made out of that.
Yeah, but they look like people. I mean, they're people shaped.
Yeah, they don't have faces though.
No.
And they don't wear clothes or anything. They all look identical.
Right.
And if you've ever seen Fantastic Mr. Fox, or there's the other one that's, I think it's the Isle of Dogs, where things that have hair are animated, that look they get where the hair is moving every frame, so it looks like the hair is like wispy and moving everywhere, it's that kind of effect here. If not, I'm sure you can imagine what I'm talking about. But like I said, they're like building these obelisks that are like flying around that are just like almost just like gray bricks. And as it's happening, all these hair people are working themselves to death. Some of them look like they're killing themselves, like the ones over the hole that has fire spurting out of it. And a lot of them just seem like accidents, like the guy that accidentally leans against one.
Yeah, well,
of the
then there's
obelisks
one that's flying through the air and he gets knocked off the walkway.
So basically, we see all this happening, and
then we see a TV with a mouth on it.
Yes, there's a TV above them that has. I mean, there's various screens.
Right.
Like there's screens piled up in kind of like a jumbled order. So some of the screens have eyes on them, some of the screens have mouths on them, and what's coming out of the speakers and from the mouth is just baby gibberish.
Yeah, kind of like toddler language.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of symbolism here of like capitalism and working yourself to death in today's society, and the people at the top being infantile in nature essentially because they don't understand what it's like to be at the bottom.
Right. And I mean, it just is when the talking begins, like everybody, all the workers just stop.
Yeah.
It's like they're just enthralled by this.
And
while this is going on, our assassin is walking through.
Yes.
Seeing all this go on.
And like we said, he doesn't really interfere. He's just kind of watching it happen.
Right.
And there are like slave drivers here, and I think they look pretty much identical to the thing that came out of the hotel. They're pretty similar.
Yeah.
They might be a little bit different, but they're pretty close. And they're disgusting though, because like a lot of them are pooping all the time, and they have sores on them, and so like one of them has a big sore like on its balls, and one of the hair creatures is like forced to clean it and stuff like that. It's nasty.
Told you it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. There's a lot of gross imagery in this movie, but our assassin just kind of moves through, and he finds a trap door to get down to the next layer. Another thing that the descent of this reminds me of is Dante's Inferno, where he's going through the 7 layers.
Yeah.
And like even in Dante's Inferno, like yes, he has Virgil there explaining stuff, and he kind of interacts with people. It's almost the same thing where it's just kind of him touring the area.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But so when he's getting ready to go in the trapdoor, he has the chance to save one of the hair creatures.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So he lifts up the trapdoor, and right as he does, a hair creature comes up from behind him. So he makes eye contact with it, or as close to eye contact as we can understand, because, like we said, they're both faceless, essentially. Because the assassin has a gas mask on, so you can't see his face, and then the hair face people just do not have faces.
But you know what I thought, not to interrupt, but you know what I thought was really neat? Like, they don't have faces. There's no mouth, there's no eyes, there's nothing. But you could feel what they felt. Like,
yes.
It was so deep.
Yes.
Like, you could feel their sadness, you could feel the hopelessness, and they didn't...
Their body language.
They did that through their body with no faces.
Yeah, and
like,
it's all stop motion.
Right.
They did this by hand, like it's...
It was amazing.
Especially like the ones I mentioned where there's like the geyser of fire coming out of the ground. The way they like slump over before they let themselves get burned up in the fire, right. It's like they're giving up.
Yeah.
But here, this is really probably, in my opinion, one of the most emotional scenes in the movie, is when these two faceless creatures make eye contact basically. And the hair guy just, it's almost like he's silently pleading for the assassin to save him, to take him with him, because he found an escape hatch. He found a way to get away. But we hear one of those creatures, like the slave drivers, coming around the corner, and it's too late. And really, it seems like the assassin is hesitant, but then as soon as that creature starts to come around the corner, he drops down the chute. He's done. He
still watches.
Yeah. He pokes his head out, doesn't he?
Right, yeah.
And so we watch as the hair creature that was basically pleading for its life gets stomped to death by the slave driver.
It almost made me cry. Like,
yeah, it's genuinely one of the most emotional moments in the movie, if not the most emotional.
Yeah.
So after this, he gets it down into this area that's just like piles of garbage everywhere, essentially. Mm-hmm. And he comes to a pile of briefcase is identical to the one he has.
And when Dawson says a pile, it's like
A mountain.
a mountain.
Yeah.
It's not just a few, it's a mountain of briefcases.
Yeah. And at first, I remember we saw him and you go, is that books? And I said, no, it's briefcases.
Yeah, it just the way they were stacked, it looked like books. But...
I know, but it's just, I feel like when I said that, I saw the look on your face, and you like realized this has happened before.
Yeah.
And he gets attacked by like a creature, but it's not. So, I've referenced stuff a lot, and I realize this, but in Maze Runner, there's the creatures that are in the maze, and the creatures are not quite machine, they're not quite organic, they're something in between. They're like cybernetic, but they're also like really terrifying. And that's what this thing reminds me of.
Doesn't he open his briefcase before he gets attacked, though?
No. I don't think... He may, but he gets attacked, and then he manages to set the thing, and then he gets dragged away.
Okay.
Right?
I
Or does he...
remember.
Does his get set?
Yes, because it gets stuck, and it doesn't go off.
That is his? It's not the second?
Yes,
okay.
it's his.
So he basically fights off the creature long enough to set a timer on what we now see is a bomb inside of the suitcase. So it seems like... Did I say suitcase? Yeah. Briefcase. So it seems like their whole goal, the assassin's goal, and probably why his name is the Assassin, is because their goal is to destroy this world.
Right.
So anyway, he gets dragged off by the, like, cybernetic abomination, and then we cut to curtains, and people are, like, shuffling into a theater.
Yeah, it's like that scene, it's like the scene in, Gremlins, where you can see, like, their shadows in the chairs.
Yeah. There's also, I always remember this. We used to have that Looney Tunes that was, like, one disc was, like, all Fairy Tales Looney Tunes. And there's the one that's, a spoof of Little Red Riding Hood, where at the end, when the wolf is fighting the, huntsman or whatever, people walk in. So they pause what they're doing and wait for them to sit down.
Yeah,
That's,
that.
yeah, it made me think of that. Or, I know you hate this movie, but, Lion King 1.5.
Oh, yeah.
Where they, like, interrupt the movie. Anyway, yeah, it's so, we see curtains, and then we see people shuffling in. And then we see an outline behind the curtain, and it's an outline, we don't see exactly what's happening. But you can tell there's a table with something on it, a person on it, and then these two creatures come over, and they almost remind me of Dementors, like the way they move.
Yeah.
And the way they are. And they come up to him, and they start undressing him. Like, they pull off his boots, and they're pulling his clothes off. And as this is and like I said, we can't see what's actually happening. We just see the outline through the curtain. But as this is happening, everyone that's watching is, like, laughing and giggling and cheering.
Yeah.
And they finally undress him, and the two, like, Dementor-looking creatures that took his stuff off turn towards the curtain. And like I said, it's still all behind the curtain. We never actually see what's going on behind it. They take a bow. And then we cut inside of, like, a doctor's office where the assassin is held. And the assassin was the one that was just...
Stripped.
Yes.
So we have a doctor and a nurse.
Yes.
And something that I thought was really cool about them that Dawson told me
Yes.
was the way they moved.
So they are live-action people, and there's a few live-action people in this movie. But the way that they're shot right now is really cool. Before they come in, though, we see them laying on the table, and there's a clock ticking on the wall. And the clock is ticking fast at first, and then it starts ticking slower, and slower, and slower. And then the doctor and the nurse come in. And their movements are really jerky and inhuman, and the reason it's like that is because they shot live-action people in stop motion.
Which I think is so cool.
Which I've never heard of anyone doing ever before.
And so it gives them, like, that jerky, like, if you've seen, Silent Hill, where the nurses are all jerky and moving, you know, it puts you in the mind of that, but it's creepier than that because it's real. I mean...
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's laid out on this table, and they start doing surgery. They cut open his abdomen.
Yes, and it's gross, because they, like, first they cut into him, like, they make the incision, and then they just, like, grab the two sides of his rib cage and, like, rip it open. Um,
And at this part, I kept looking at Dawson like, what are they trying to find? Like, I kept asking, what are they doing?
Because at first, they just pull out what looks like organs, what just looks like blood and guts and organs, and it's like normal. But then, as they get deeper, they start to pull out, like pearls and gold and, like, gold coins and stuff like that. I saw someone online compare it to a pirate's booty.
Which Dawson said that is supposed to represent the things that mean the most to you.
Yeah, like the things you care about. And I don't know that. That's my interpretation. And then as they're digging deeper, they start to pull out pages of books. And I feel like that's the knowledge that you've gained throughout your life. And then they finally pull out this baby sounding, like it sounds like a baby. It's like crying like a baby. They pull out this like slug-like creature.
It reminds me of the alien in Alien that comes out of her chest.
A chest burster?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty similar to that.
And I personally think it is life. I think it's the representation after this.
Okay.
I personally believe this is the representation of like life or like a soul. So I think this point is when we go into...
my soul's prettier than that thing.
Yeah. But the nurse takes it and starts to carry it out of the room, and then I think this is when we go into the TV.
Okay. When do we see the shot of the...
After we come out of the TV.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
And if we're disjointed and we say some stuff out of order, I don't think it matters for the overall story.
Right.
And this movie is already so odd that I don't think saying a couple things out of order is going to completely ruin it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we go inside the TV.
In his room.
Yes. So, the only thing we see from the assassin while he's on the bed that's still moving is his eye. His eye keeps like moving around and watching everything they're doing, and the whole time they're pulling stuff out of him, he's still alive. And at this point, the doctor picks up something and cuts a hole in his head.
Eyes creep me out so bad.
And then puts a like tube into his brain. And when this happens, the eye stops moving, and we zoom in on the TV as we presumably start to see like his memories.
Right.
Which makes me think this is a different assassin than one we saw get taken by the creature. Right?
That's my understanding.
Yeah. Because we see...
Or they were all hive-minded and...
Oh, that's a good interpretation. I didn't think of that. And they do look slightly different. Did you notice that too? Mm-hmm. Like this new one that we're following is slightly like shorter and a little bit fatter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So we go into the TV and we're following another assassin.
Yes. Are following the new assassin. And he is up at the top where he's with... It's hard because a lot of these people have like odd names. And so the guy that we see at the beginning that sends the assassin down is this like older looking guy that has super long nails, like disgustingly long nails, like they freak me out. And I think he's referred to as the last man. That's what he's referred to as. Yeah. So we see him receive a like animal skin map, which is given to this assassin.
Yeah, I thought it was human skin. The way it looked.
It could be.
The color of it, I thought it was human, but...
Some kind of tanned hide, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Or maybe not tanned, I don't know. Anyway, some kind of...
Don't they show a little bit of it being made? Like he goes and gets
it from the and I was going to say that. There's 3 ladies that are... like sewing it together and creating the map on it. And the 3 ladies have 1 eye and 1 tooth between the 3 of them. Which, if you don't know what that's a reference to, it is a reference to the Grey Sisters from Greek mythology, aka the Fates, who determined the fates of everyone. And like if you've seen the Disney Hercules movie, they cut the string, and when they cut the string, that means you die. And so here they're helping out this man, the last man, put together a map to lead this assassin to his fate, essentially.
What do you think the significance is between the first map being paper and this map being something that's not easily destroyed?
I don't know.
Do you think there's significance to that?
I wonder if it's like supposed to be him learning that you like learning from his past mistakes that like the paper map fell apart. So let's try a different material. Because he didn't come back. It might just be testing different variables until something works.
Okay.
And it's like he goes in a different route too, so it's not exactly the scientific method of we're going to try the same thing and just change one variable. Maybe he just changes everything.
Right.
Or tries different combinations.
Right. Okay. I didn't know if you thought there was more to it than that.
I genuinely think that, I don't know what the intention is, but that's how I was looking at it, is learning from previous mistakes. So this guy gets lowered down in the diving bell again, and he finds a motorcycle first, and ends up finding a Jeep with his binoculars, which is the scene I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, he's in like, it's a desolate wasteland, like, war ravaged,
like there's old buildings and stuff
that have been bombed, and he ends up in the middle of a tank, kind of a tank fight.
Yes.
But nothing deters them. Like, he doesn't even, he just keeps driving down the road. And something, doesn't something attack him at one point in the Jeep, or when he's trying to get the Jeep going?
I don't remember. But I was going to say, one of my favorite scenes in this movie, it's such a quick moment, but like you said, he doesn't stop or hesitate for anything. He drives through this war-torn field that has all kinds of holes, and there's active tanks firing at each other. But when he's on the road and he comes to a four-way stop, he stops.
And it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's a four-way stop, but it's like there's nothing around.
Yeah. Like, there's not even, it doesn't even really look like there's anything on the ground.
Right.
Like, it's just empty for miles around. And there is something so human about that.
Right.
That even in the midst of all this chaos, you would stop at a four-way stop.
Right.
That just screams human to me. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So then he drives on, and he ends up going down like this giant spiral that just goes down and down and down and down.
It kind of reminds you of the mountain in the train movie, the Christmas movie.
Polar Express.
Yeah, only his goes down.
Yeah.
Or the staircases in Skyrim.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Took me a second. But yeah, the thing is, we follow his Jeep going down the spiral for a while, and it's so long that we don't even see him do it the whole time. It's like fades. Like, it keeps fading and he's farther down. Like, we don't just watch him circle the whole time.
But it's also pretty tense because his Jeep barely fits on the road. Yeah.
And I think at like one point we do like a close up on the Jeep and it hits a rock that falls down the hole. Like, it's and do we cut back to the like nurse and stuff at this point?
First between the nurse and then the alchemist and him.
Yeah.
Which we haven't even touched on the alchemist yet.
Yeah. So we come out of the TV at some point.
Right.
And start to follow the nurse as she's taking this baby.
And I want to say this because this scene got to me, and I don't know when exactly this scene is, but if you have seen the movie Cabin in the Woods, there's the scene where Dana and the stoner guy are trapped in that box. Marty, thank you. They're trapped in that clear box, and it zooms out, and it's like all these different creatures. There's a scene in this movie where we're looking at our soldier that got killed, had the surgery.
The assassin.
Assassin that had the surgery, and then it pans out, and it's like all of these hospital rooms with different assassins in them. So it shows you that he's not the first.
Yeah.
That there's been, I mean, I don't know how many boxes there are, but there's a ton of people in there.
And all of them have their rib cages cracked open like his, presumably having the same thing removed from them.
Right.
So we
do a lot of comparisons to other stuff.
I think that's fine though, because that is just always how I've experienced media, and that might have rubbed off from you. Yeah. But I've always referenced stuff, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I feel like I'm on the spectrum, and a lot of times in social situations, it's easier to just make references and stuff than try to voice my own thoughts. And so I feel like that might have something to do with it for me. But anyway,
we're kind of meandering all over the place with
yeah,
this one.
I think that's fine. That's how the movie is, though. If anything, it's just in the spirit of the movie.
So, full transparency, I don't remember how all of this goes down.
Yeah.
Because we're jumping between our second assassin, the nurse who is just kind of walking down a hallway with the baby. Which, the baby's mouth on what she's carrying reminded me so much of the one we talked about on the screen.
Yes.
Did you notice that? It was pretty similar to the... I'm not saying it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was pretty similar to the one with the or the hair people.
I feel like I heard a theory from someone that since this makes the baby noises and that thing makes the baby noises, that is a grown-up version of one of these things that has escaped.
I didn't see that, but yeah, that makes sense. So the nurse, and this part is creepy because of the way she moves, but she's kind of just walking down this really long hallway.
Yes.
With the baby. No, that's not true. I take that back. She goes down the hallway and gives it to the lady in the black.
So what happens is, she is going down a hallway. She gets to like this door, and I don't think she's shot in the jittery motion at this point. I think she's just walking normally. I think when she leaves the room, she's no longer jittery.
I thought she still was a little bit.
I might be wrong, but I don't think so. But anyway, she gets to like this like massive door and passes the creature off to this like wraith that's wearing like a plague doctor mask. Mm-hmm. Like it's cloaked all in black, and it's like at the bottom it's like ripped like strips, and it like slightly floats above the ground.
Right. And I feel like the nurse kind of has second thoughts about handing over the baby.
I didn't catch that.
Like, she just kind of stands there and looks at the door after she gives it up, and...
I didn't even think about that.
I feel like maybe she's kind of questioning what she's doing.
Could be.
So then we follow Plague Doctor.
Yes.
Or Wraith. Down lots of hallways and through all these different places. And then we meet the Alchemist.
Yes.
And the Alchemist is one of the most disgusting things in this entire movie.
It reminds me of one of the creatures from... It reminds me of a Jim Henson creature. But specifically, it reminds me of something that you would see in Dark Crystal.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that, but he's gross.
He's got like a big nose, and there's like... I don't even know if it's part of his nose or it's like a wart, but there's like a huge growth on his nose. So I don't know... I don't remember which happens first, but when we meet the Alchemist, there's kind of two scenes that I feel like help define him. The first scene is there's these two creatures that have shovels that are shoveling poop. That's coming out of some kind of pipe or something, and instead of doing what they're supposed to be doing, they start fighting each other. And the Alchemist watches them for a bit, and one of them pokes the other ones in the eye, and it's like eye pops, and that's one of the grossest things in the movie to me. But the Alchemist ends up electrocuting them until they stop fighting.
Yeah, they have like helmets on.
Yeah,
that he uses to electrocute them.
Like he electrocutes them once, and then they continue fighting after he electrocutes them. So he electrocutes them again, and they get back to working. So he stops. Yeah, and he walks along.
But it was like they're scooping the poop, but they're only moving it like 5 feet.
Yeah.
Like, they're chained up. They can't go.
Yeah. There's just like massive piles, like mountains of poop behind them that they're just shoveling the poop into.
Right.
And like we never see what the purpose of it is or anything like that. It just... They're just chained there and forced to work like that
Maybe
forever.
It's the poop that wasn't good enough to make hair people.
Could be. Or it could be what happens to the hair people after they're smashed.
Well, that's true, too.
Anyway,
so the second scene I want to talk about, because I was so excited by this scene when it started.
Let me first preface with this. This movie is a very dirty movie. Like, everything looks like it's covered in, like, years of rust and dust, and, like, it's super dilapidated, and it's a lot of, like, sepia tones and stuff like that.
So, then we're in the Alchemist
lab,
thank you. I was thinking lair. That would have worked, too. But,
yeah.
And he's got this aquarium, and it is the brightest, most beautiful
terrarium.
neon colors. There's whatever terrarium. It's bright pink. There's bright green. I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's finally a happy moment in this movie. And so he feeds them maggots, and there's 2 creatures in there, and I don't really know what they are. They're just kind of
creatures,
buggies.
Yeah.
And they go over to a table, and they sit there, and the guy bug is feeding the girl bug.
They're not sitting at a table. He drops the maggots in. There's bugs in there that are playing cards at a table.
Okay.
They just walk out in the middle and are eating the bugs.
Okay. Well, anyway, he feeds her a bug. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
You know what this whole thing reminds me of? It reminds me of, and I think this is intentional because it looks like a blacklight thing. It reminds me of like an old blacklight poster. Or the other thing it reminds me of is like all the Lisa Frank stuff with like the bright colors and everything.
And the music even changes, like it's more upbeat while we're watching these creatures, and so we're watching, it's just so upbeat and so much different. And so I'm like, yay, there's something positive. And then the freaking alchemist releases a spider into the terrarium.
Which the spider's really cool too, though.
And he takes the girl.
He takes the baby. It's like a mom and a baby, from what I've seen people say.
I thought it was a man and a woman. But anyway, he takes the baby just back into his lair. And
this is, like I said, there's like one real line in this movie, which is, oh no, and the mom says it here.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of heartbreaking. That makes it even worse that it was a mom and a kid.
And like I said, there's like bugs playing cards at a table in this scene. And when it happens, they just watch it happen and don't really say anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's probably typical behavior. But the alchemist thinks it's like the funniest thing he's ever seen.
Yeah, and so the spider grabs the kid and then pulls it back into its like lair thing, and then the alchemist like pulls a switch that like closes the hatch back up to lock the spider away.
It was so sad because it was all sunshine and roses, and then it wasn't anymore.
I will say though, like this movie is beautiful. Even like in the dirty parts, it's still like it's beautiful.
Right. So we met the alchemist.
Yes. So the plague doctor arrives at his lab, right?
Right. And like we said, this is all interspersed with us following the other assassins.
And this is when we really see, because you can kind of tell the plague doctor's floating by the way they move. But here's when you really see that they can float, because they're coming down the stairs into the lab, and then on like the last step they just start floating instead of taking the last step. And they're almost ethereal, and even like the way it's shot, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder how they did that and made it look like it was floating.
So commonly how they do that, if they want something like floating or jumping in the air or whatever, is they'll take a shot of it they'll take a shot of just the background, like just the setting without anything on it, and then they'll put like the figure or whatever in there and take a picture with it suspended on something, and then overlay those 2 pictures and just cut out what they don't want.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
I've done it before. It was actually for D&D. I made figures for different characters, and some of the characters had multiple outfits, and I wanted a picture of all of them together. But I only had one head for like that character. So I took like 3 pictures, but I used a phone stand and kept it all in the same spot, and then put all those pictures together.
Okay. And you said they use a clear base to make it float?
Yes. Or like I have some. It's like it's just like a stand that has like a arm come up the back, which has little clips on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So the plague doctor comes down with the alchemist, and the alchemist like puts the baby in like a crusher.
Oh, yes, that's terrible.
Yeah.
They kill the baby.
Yes. The little like gross larva thing that looks like a chest burster. They put it in a thing and they crush it. And what comes out is like a fine like powder, like a gold dust almost. And there's like, it's like a forge in the wall. And they blow the dust into it, and when we do, we see a world being created, and we see one of those obelisks that we saw were being made earlier in the factory by like the hair people, is what starts life on the planet. And we see an alien spaceship come to a planet and drop one of those off, and it starts creating life around it. So we see that happen, and we see stuff happening rapidly. and we see humans evolving, and we see cities being built, and we get to a point where
I don't want to interrupt you, but I found this kind of interesting back
okay.
on the formation. So the dust, like Dawson said, becomes like you said. I'm gonna try to get out of the habit of saying Dawson said, like we're just having a conversation. But like you said, it makes this whole new universe. And one thing I read said that that sequence is actually similar to the birth of the universe in the movie The Tree of Life.
Yes, I saw
but
that.
It happens much faster. So it's like basically a big bang and everything's
Yeah.
there.
I've also seen people say that there's multiple references to 2001: A Space Odyssey in this movie, but I have not seen that. Nor isn't it based off a book?
In what? Yeah,
I haven't read the
Conan
book.
Doyle, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It said that in his lab he has a baby in a jar, and that's one of the references to.
And I guess the obelisks are a reference somehow. Anyway, so the obelisk is what brings life to the planet. We see life evolving rapidly, and then we see humans creating society, like they create cities. And then in this city, we see two people plant a briefcase bomb that looks like the one that they use.
Hold on back up for just a second. I know I keep doing that, but so at this point, like we go through pretty much time. Like we go from microorganisms to people. We go from they don't show it, but like from cavemen to modern day humans. And so at this point is really the only time that it looks like our current world, like not post-apocalyptic, like not any of that. And so behind the buildings at this point, we see the same red sun that we saw behind the Tower of Babel at the beginning. So it's kind of foreshadowed. It's kind of like setting up an expectation that all heck's going to break loose again and the world's going to end. We betrayed God. Right. Anyway, go back to, you were talking about the two women.
These two people plant a bomb, and it looks like the briefcase bomb we've seen before, and they spray an anarchy symbol on the wall. And then we see this bomb go off, destroying the city, and then we see bombs going off all over the world, destroying that planet.
And but while they're setting the bomb up, the military is actually shooting at the girls.
Yes, and they get shot, they get killed, but the bomb still goes off because they got it set up in time.
Right.
So we see that world, that universe essentially get destroyed really quick. So is this when we see the last man in the bunker?
So, this says, my notes say we go back to the alchemist workshop. This is where we see the baby in the jar, which we just talked about, 2001. You mentioned the monolith being from 2001, A Space Odyssey. This says the baby in the jar represents human potential. And then we go to a massive ticking grandfather clocks.
And there's a cuckoo clock.
And so it's the clocks in this part are just spinning and spinning and spinning to represent that century.
And we see mold and stuff growing.
Right.
And then it fades, and we see a hourglass run out, and then it reverses, and the sand's back in the top.
And the dust kind of goes away. The candles relight themselves.
So, when do we see the last man in the bunker, though? We see the last man, he's like in like a war, like it brings to mind like World War II. He gets into like a bunker, and there's like screens, and he like sends out SOS basically, and he looks through a telescope as stuff is happening.
I think that's pretty much the end, right before the end.
Okay. And is that about it?
Yeah, that's about it.
We see that the bomb from earlier, the one that was set by our first assassin, that got stuck, it was taking forward, and then it would take one forward, then one back, one forward, then one back, like if you have a clock that's low on battery.
Right.
And we see this time it clicks forward again, and then we see the cuckoo come out of the clock in the other area, kind of telling us, hey, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, so this said...
But...
the Babel sequence showed a leader atop the tower and their followers below. and then the final shot shows the last man on a platform and his followers below.
But then, technically, the very, very end, I think it's even after the credits, we see the eye from the beginning of the movie again as it closes. And from what I was reading, some people think the eye is the eye of the plague doctor. Some people think it's showing that this is all in someone's head. I don't know, did you see any more theories about the eye?
Basically that it was God looking down on us.
Yeah.
Or that it was the sun, kind of reflecting the sun from the beginning. Like the sun in the sky, not sun as a person. Which the sun is right in my eyes right now. But yeah, so I saw, those are pretty much the two I saw, was that it was God or it was the sun.
So do you want to talk about your theories that you found first, or do you want me to tell you mine that I was thinking about?
My theories are pretty much, I mean, the ones I found are pretty much that it's just a critique of society, that we basically humans suck and we're ruining the world, and that basically we just need a complete reset. So this, I liked this because there's two statements in here. One says, the world may look nice, but it's actually as ugly and brutal as this place. So
you're gonna have to send me that article so I can link it in the description.
And then the second one says, if we're not careful, this is the way the world could go. We're this close to making God that angry.
You know what I was thinking about that I think is interesting?
What's that?
So we see the man in the tower, the last man as he's referred to, sitting down these assassins to basically blow up this whole world that they're in. But we also see, on the other side, we see the Plague Doctor creating new universes with the Alchemist. And throughout the movie, we see all these different representations of religion, like the Tower of Babel references, the Leviticus, but then there's also stuff like the Grey Sisters from Greek mythology. We see a Buddha statue when he's going down.
There's the one part where it's the red bull.
There's a Minotaur.
Minotaur, there you go.
There's, like I said, the half monkey, half fish that brings to mind those old mermaids. And all that together with different religions all intermingling and mixing and all this, what it makes me think is, what if this is the Forge of Worlds? Like, what if this is every god ever, and it's outside of time and space as we know it, and they're creating universes like ours where we worship gods.
Huh.
And this is just this is like a representation of like Olympus or whatever.
Huh.
And that they're just as screwed up as we are. If you go back and look at all the Greek stories and stuff, like, the gods do very immoral things. And so I think one could interpret it as this is like the god and like devils and stuff's playground. And they're creating new universes, and it's the goal of the Plague Doctor to create these universes, and it's the goal of the Last Man to stop all of it from happening.
Why would he want to stop it from happening?
I don't know. Any number of reasons.
I'm just asking, do you think he's like a god that's wanting to stop it from happening?
Yes. Because we see him and we see the Plague Doctor, and it's like they're at odds.
Right.
And they're sending armies out against each other, or sending different things out and fighting and all that. It's like a power balance and like a struggle between the two. And I wonder if the man in the tower, his whole deal is he wants to destroy, and the Plague Doctor wants to create, which is why he takes life out of the assassins. And maybe the guy who can destroy is the only one that can create life to start with. So he creates these assassins which have the life inside of them that are then taken out to create new universes across the cosmos.
And one thing we didn't mention earlier was when we see the last man, he's standing on like this circular thing where they drop the
diving bell.
The diving bell down, and it's just surrounded by rows and rows and rows of assassins.
Yeah. And we keep calling it a diving bell because that's what I've seen people refer to it as. It's not a diving bell like what you would picture on like an actual like medieval ship or whatever time period, like pirate ship or whatever, where it's like literally just an empty bell. It's like this like hyper advanced like pod.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Pod is a good word for it.
But yeah, that was my theory, is that it's like they are the gods creating, and maybe the eyes is like the one God above all of them that's overlooking them.
I didn't think about that. That's not something I came across, so.
I just, with all the different depictions of different religious stuff, that's what it made me think of.
Yeah. See, I took that as like, which I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
You're a Christian. So we believe in one God, like the one God. No offense, I don't mean that, but Jehovah, that's who we believe in. So I took it like the Minotaur and the Buddhist statue and all of that was like us falling from grace.
And it could be.
And part of why the world needed reset.
But then why would the fates be helping the last of humanity if everything else is kind of in the way?
That's true. So do you think that this is something I've thought a lot about too. I told you I couldn't get this movie out of my head. Do you think that the assassins are human?
No.
So what are they? What do you think they are?
I think they're constructs made by the last man. And I don't know, even if I'm not going with the theory I just said, even if I think no matter what, there's something that was created by that man. Maybe even they're essentially pirated suits that are controlled by the slug creatures inside of them.
Wow. You thought really hard and deep on this one.
It's one of my favorite movies, and I've seen it like 4 times now.
I'm just like, I'm impressed, because I didn't, like, I don't know. I learned a lot talking about this one with you.
I think this is one that could warrant a whole podcast dedicated to it with discussion, because there is just so much in this movie, and I'm sure there's plenty of stuff we missed. Like, there's so much stuff in the background, and there's so many little moments, and like I said, there's no dialogue in it, so it's very, very much visual, and you're gonna miss stuff.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, I've only seen it once, and I was watching it knowing we were doing a podcast and we were going to talk about it. So you're kind of just focused on the main story.
Yeah.
But I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, would kind of like to watch it again and kind of watch more of the background stuff and like what did we miss? Like, you've brought up stuff in the background that I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
So, but you've seen it more times than I have. But I think it would be kind of neat. And now that I know the story, to go back and watch it again and see some of those little nuances in the background, and you just, whether or not you like the movie, like I said before, it's not one of my favorites, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Whether or not you like the movie and you like the meaning, how you interpret the movie, It is a very well done movie. I don't want to say it's beautiful because of the backgrounds and stuff.
It's
but
a masterpiece.
Thank you. It's very beautifully done. And you just have to appreciate the art behind it, because who commits 30 years of their life to, which I know it wasn't 30 continuous years, but 30 years of your life to a project to make a full-length stop-motion movie where every single part is handmade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like taking G.I. Joe figures and making a stop-motion movie. I mean, everything was handmade.
And even that is hard enough.
Right. And, I don't remember if it was a YouTube video you found that we were kind of watching where it was showing some of the background stuff. And
it was we watched it on YouTube, but it was a behind the scenes thing ripped from the DVD release.
Okay, but it
was called The Making of Mad God.
It shows like these elaborate sets that they had, and like I said before, it's not a Scooby-Doo where the background is the same. He's not walking past the same pile of bodies 5 times. He's walking through this world with different things all the time.
And I said the thing about how it was shot at different scales for certain parts. If you go into the movie not knowing that, I don't think you would know.
I didn't.
I only noticed some stuff like that because I didn't notice on my first watch. I only noticed whenever I went back and was watching it. And it makes sense to me because I've taken some pictures before. Like, I like taking pictures of, like, my action figures and stuff. And, like, I have one picture where I took a Hot Wheels car and put it in front and then put the figure in the distance in the background. Or, like, there's that guy online that takes pictures of himself with his action figures, like fighting Hulk and stuff like that, you know? And they use perspective for that. And so it makes sense to use different scales for that so that you're not taking up so much room with everything, But
how do you... I mean, this is kind of a rhetorical question, but how do you put that much time and effort into something and make it I mean, I'm just so impressed that it's cohesive and there's a story to it. And Dawson's, you've mentioned a couple times, there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
But there's this whole story to this movie. I mean, it's not.
And even though, like I said, I don't think the assassins are human, there's so many human moments in the film.
Right.
Like the part where the first assassin makes or quote unquote eye contact with the hair creature, or the part where he stops at a 4-way stop. Like stuff like that, it's just like it makes the world feel so real.
Yeah. And like the 4-way stop thing was so unexpected, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it was just, I mean,
because he goes through all of this chaos, and then he gets to a 4-way stop, and he stops and yields, and then keeps going.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, I don't know. There's just so much to this movie that I honestly think if you are looking for an artistic movie,
Yes.
that you can appreciate the way it was done, regardless of the story. If you can appreciate the way it was done, the detail, the work that went into it, this is one you need to watch.
Yeah.
And I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. We talked about not doing an episode on this movie because we weren't sure if there was enough that we could talk about with it. Because there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
Dialogue drives the story 99% of the time. But I just couldn't get this movie out of my head. Like, I felt like we needed to talk about this one.
And I want to know what the script looked like for this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I wonder what, like, his basic idea, like, what was his initial idea?
Yeah, they said they saw, like, the original thing on his computer. I wonder if they have that as, like, a special features or something on the DVD version. But, I would like to see what that original video was that got people so enamored with it that they volunteered their time to help him make this.
Right. And, I mean, you're talking 60 plus people. But looking at the movie, and I'm not downplaying anybody's part in this movie, but looking at this movie, you can't tell there were 60 people that worked on this.
Yeah.
Knowing the work that went into it, you know there were that many people. But, like, it flows. It's not like if I drew something and then you drew something and we just kind of mashed them together.
Yeah.
Like, it is a full-on cohesive story with all of these people being involved. And I think it's crazy that he wasn't going to finish it because he thought stop motion was going away.
If I remember correctly, in the interview, or like the thing we watched on YouTube, I feel like one of the guys said, and Phil was kind of up for anything, like I made a suggestion, he was like, yeah, put that in there and stuff. So it seems like it was very collaborative, and for it to be collaborative and still be such a confined story, if you know what I mean, in this massive world.
Right.
Is so interesting to me. Like that, like the dedication that had to go into this.
Yeah. And they talk about, like, they'd see a piece of pipe laying on the ground and they'd be like, okay, what can we use that for in this movie? So it wasn't like, you know, like sitting down and plotting out what is the background going to look like in every scene. It was kind of, they build it as they went.
Yeah. And that's why I wonder what the script looked like, because I wonder if there is one, or if there was just, like, he skipped straight to storyboards, or if there was even any of that, or if they just had a vague idea, like a vague outline, and then filled in the detail as they went.
And I wonder what his point was at the beginning. Like, did he expect to make a full-length stop-motion movie with this much of a story, or was he just kind of playing around with stop-motion to just see what he could do?
Well, and I think you know this. I really, really like the movie 9. And before I had actually seen the movie 9 and I just heard what it was about, I wanted it to be more like this.
Yeah. I think one of the cool parts about this movie is there's so many different ways to interpret it. I mean, like I said, like without dialogue, like dialogue drives the story. Like, you don't have to think about, I mean, not that you don't ever have to think about a movie with people talking, but they tell you what to think.
Yeah.
And this one does not do that. I mean,
like,
oh no is the only line in the entire movie.
Yeah. And it's like, there's such an interesting world built here, and it feels like a fleshed out world. Like, it doesn't feel, like, disconnected or anything like that. Because even the scene with, like, the terrarium, the fact it's confined to a terrarium, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like, why is
Right.
so much different in theirs? Because it's, like, confined to this one terrarium. Or even, like, even with them going through the layers, it doesn't feel like each layer is completely separated from the other layers.
Right.
There's still some through lines and stuff throughout them.
Right. I want to know more. Like, I want to know some of the other assassin stories. Like, where have they been?
Yeah.
My only question is not my only question, obviously. There's a whole list, but one of my big questions is how did they drop the diving bell down from the same spot and end up in different places?
I didn't think about that.
Because it's just kind of on like a cable that goes straight down.
Maybe the world moves.
Maybe. That was one. That was like if there was any plot hole in this movie, that was mine because I'm like, because the second assassin starts to go down, and I'm like, he's not in the same spot.
The other thing to think about, though, too, is there's all kinds of levers and crap inside that pod, and I think the only one we see activated makes it go down.
Oh.
So maybe it's like the glass elevator in Willy Wonka, and it can go wherever they want.
That makes sense. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Anyway, that's our review of Mad God.
Yes.
One of one of your favorites. I'm really working on that. One of your favorites.
One that you thought about a lot.
I thought about it a lot. I won't say it's a favorite, but I am glad that you had me watch it.
I told you, I think every horror fan needs to watch it once, just because it's that captivating.
Yeah, and I mean, we had talked about skipping this one.
And like you said, like, you were uncomfortable the whole time, but you didn't know if that was good or bad.
I think it was good, but I mean, some of the people in this movie are disgusting.
Yeah.
Like the alchemist and then the guy at the beginning that kills the monkey fish guy. They're gross. And then the guy with the infected privates. Those made me uncomfortable, but I think the whole concept of the movie made me uncomfortable too. Because it's, I mean, not to get political and all that crap, but that's the way our world's heading, is that we're...
And I know you're kind of, like, coming to, like, our stopping point for the podcast, but I meant to mention this earlier. I think there's also a lot of themes of, like you said, like, immorality and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, and one thing that I really thought about, because I've heard a lot of discussion about it, especially with, the porn ban in the news lately, like restricting services to, like, where you have to show your ID and stuff to see adult content and all that crap. It's got me thinking about the fact that, and I've seen people talk about this on Reddit a lot, is like kind of like the porn pipeline, where you start with vanilla stuff and then you start getting into like worse and worse stuff. Like people talk about how that happens to people, and it made that when I saw the scene where the woman is being stabbed in the like hotel at like the very beginning, that's where my mind went. I was thinking about that and how it could be commentary on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Anyway, we highly recommend that you watch it at least once, but make sure you have time to sit down and watch it and not just have it on for background noise.
And if you are... I check the trigger warnings in the description. Like, don't force yourself to watch something that's gonna, like, ruin your day.
Right. I think there's only one nudity really in there.
Well, kinda. The monster at the beginning has boobs.
That's true.
There's the creature that has the infected...
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Never mind, I take that back. There's more than one.
And then, like I said... Well, yeah. But people also say that... And I never, like, slowed it down to catch it or anything, but I guess whenever he first looks through the telescope, there's, like, a scene from, like, a Italian porn movie or something in it. So...
Didn't catch that either, but that's okay. So, yeah, check the trigger warnings, but... From an artistic standpoint, it's one to watch and kind of admire the work that went into it and what they did.
I think it's already kind of become a cult classic, but I think in the future, we're going to see it become more and more of a, like, you need to watch this movie.
So, next week is...
7 Rabbits.
the book by Timothy King, who I met a couple weeks ago, and he's a fantastic guy.
And we're trying to figure out what to do with the interview, because she did get an interview with him.
I did. I got a one-on-one interview. Well, one-on-two, because my husband was there too. But we got to sit down and talk at the event that I went to. So I am really excited to talk about his book, and in the interview he talks about what's coming up next. So stay tuned.